Good morning. Hope everybody's having a great day. And my name is Jeff Stauffer. I'm the Community Relations Director here at Elville and Associates. And welcome to our webinar today. Our topic for today is to learn all you need to know about Elville and Associates Client Care Program. And again, I'm Jeff Stauffer, and I've been with the firm for 11 and a half years and very proud of that. So just a few things about today. This is a quarterly webinar. So if you've joined us before, thank you. If you're new to it, thanks for being here. I encourage your questions. So at any time, please feel free to jot those questions in the questions panel, and I'll pause throughout to address them. Also, we have a post-webinar feedback email that's going to come out right after the presentation. So if you could take just a minute or two to fill out that information, let me know how I did. This is my second presentation, so I'm always open to constructive feedback. We also have two handouts that were sent out yesterday. If you didn't receive those for some reason, they're also marked in the section called handouts to download at this time. Afterwards, I'll be sending out a video of today's presentation along with the handouts again and some other options and a path forward for you. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. Like I said, I've been at the firm for 11 and a half years. I've seen a lot of growth, got to meet and work with so many wonderful clients over the years. I started out at the University of Maryland College Park. I was the sports information director there for many different sports when I was a student, and I graduated with my degree in journalism after 4 years. So big Terps fan, and hope there's some out there too. After I got out of college with my journalism degree, I did what anybody would, and I went into the golf business. So that was a lot of fun. I've been in golf for my entire life, and I got into the PGA development program. But then after about 6 years, I just realized that that wasn't for me. So I switched over to banking, and I was pretty successful financial center leader at BB&T for about 11 years. I started out there as a relationship banker, helping manage clients' accounts and build new relationships. And then I met Steve there. He was one of my clients at the Maple Lawn branch of BB&T. And we got to talking, and he was looking for somebody just like me to help with the marketing and business development and outreach for the firm. And that was 11 and a half years ago, and here we are today. So it's been a great ride. And I also direct the client care program for the firm, and that's what we're here to talk about today. So I want to give you some good information about that today, and some options to consider, and also a path forward for you, as Steve always likes to say. So let's jump right into it. We're going to talk about several things today over the next 40 minutes or so. Specifically, what exactly is the client care program? And is it a good fit for my family and me? The client care program is not necessarily for everybody, but there's bits and pieces of it I think that can benefit most everyone that's a client of Elville and Associates. We're going to talk about an overview of all the benefits, including membership, which runs on a calendar year basis, and also simple steps about how to get enrolled and become a member. It's really easy, and we're going to go through it at the very end. And also, again, welcome your questions, and I'll try to post some answers for you. So let's see. Good morning, James. How are you today? So looking at our questions there. So let's talk a little bit about what the program is. So in my mind and Steve's mind, the client care program is really the most ideal and highest form of partnership between Elville and Associates, your family, your fiduciaries, and yourself. So partnership is really important when it comes to something like your estate planning, or you're working with your financial planner. You have a partnership with that person to review your portfolio and your planning on a yearly basis, very similar to what you want to have with your estate planning attorney. It ensures that your planning remains updated yearly and relevant with changes in your goals, changes in your life, changes in law, and much more. So who agrees there's a lot of change going on in the world right now? I would say that's a fair statement. Life feels like it's going as fast as the speed of light sometimes. So just like we always try to keep up with everything else in our life, on top of that, we have our estate planning that we want to keep track of and make sure that, unlike a lot of people, the average time between when somebody establishes their estate plan and then updates it again is about 19 or 20 years. And I know that's a very difficult number to really think about, but those are the statistics that are out there. So what are the odds that you invest so much time and effort and money into your plan, and after 20 years, you go back and look at it, or it needs to be used, your will or trust, your powers of attorney, your advance directives, and other aspects of your plan. If you haven't looked at it for many years, what are the odds that it's really not going to reflect your wishes and work as intended? I'd say probably pretty high. So as Steve always likes to say, the thrust of the client care program is a maintaining and updating of your plan opportunity on a yearly basis with Elville and Associates. And there's much more to it than that, but that is really the thrust of it right there. There's many different benefits that come with client care program membership. I always like to highlight very valuable 2 hours of attorney time are included each year to speak to an Elville and Associates attorney. So if you have worked with Steve over the years and you want Steve to meet with you yearly to go over what's happened to your life in the past year, the positives and the negatives, changes, any updates that your plan might need to reflect. Those are things that Steve can talk to you about, as well as continue to educate you about any changes in the law that may be relative and relevant to your situation. So just a little bit about its history. We always like to start from the beginning. And so in 2016, Steve, the attorneys and staff, not including me though, because I wasn't too involved in it at the time, they traveled to Boston to attend a 3-day workshop and training at the Client Care Academy, where a very high-level attorney and advisor, Vincent Bonazzoli, trained everybody to fully understand what it means for a law firm to develop an outstanding client care program. And there they learned what I like to say, what is our why? Why develop something like this for our clients? And the answer was pretty simple. It's to take care of individuals and families in a relationship-driven program. So the firm is going to be there when it matters most to you, whether that's next year or 5 years or 10 or 20 years down the road. We want to make sure, again, that planning is going to be updated and reflect everything that it needs to reflect so it works as intended. And so currently Elville and Associates, along with our friend Gary Greenwald, who is a sole practitioner, a wonderful guy that has a couple offices in our Columbia office in the back next to where they have me. We're the only 2 firms in Maryland to have a client care program accredited through the Client Care Academy in Boston. So we're very proud of that. There's a lot of different benefits that come with client care program membership, and we're going to talk just a bit about some of them right now. So asset alignment, review, tracking, and updating. This is a very important aspect of your plan, as you very well may know. So ensuring that your asset alignment and your funding, as some people call it, ensures that your assets continue to be properly funded and aligned within your estate plan. So how many times do you have an account that gets closed, or you move, or you open up a new investment relationship? You want to make sure that all those accounts and all those things important to you are properly titled into your trust if they're supposed to be. And there's some things that are not supposed to be, such as insurance, 401ks, 403bs, those types of things. But many things are supposed to be aligned with your trust to avoid probate, which is the reason a lot of people don't move forward with trusts in the first place. So asset alignment, there is a fee to it typically when we engage with clients of $750. That's waived if new clients become client care program members when you initially retain the firm. We see a lot of, I should say the attorneys, always have to say I'm not an attorney. We see a lot of potential clients come into the office and they meet with one of our attorneys and they have a trust that they invested a lot of time in, and there are no assets aligned to their trust. So they've spent all this money and there's nothing in the trust. And a lot of firms are guilty of this. Steve can look at a binder that somebody brings in, and if it's a certain color binder, Steve already knows that the trust was not properly funded from the start. So law firms are really under no obligation to help clients fund their trust. However, we at the firm feel it's the ethical thing to do, and you invest a great deal of your time and your money into your plan, so you want to ensure that you have a trust that will have your assets aligned properly and not be unfunded and go into probates, which is what a lot of people want to avoid. We also offer a family care meeting. This is a really big one, a nice benefit. You can meet with your attorney, whether that's Steve or Lily or Shannon or Sarah, to review and discuss your estate plan. When you're feeling good, you're alive and well, have your fiduciaries, have your agents, have your personal representative, have your family members meet with your attorney and you, so they'll all understand exactly how your plan is going to work and what roles they're going to play either now or in the future. So that is a nice benefit right there. Let's go to the next page here. Access to attorneys and staff for document updates. So again, we talked a lot about, just in the first part here, meeting with an attorney to discuss your changes in your life or changes in your goals. If you want to change a trustee or you need to change a beneficiary because he or she may have passed away or the relationship has changed. Same thing for healthcare agents. Maybe you made a decision that you want to, somebody new is in your life and you want to add them as your primary healthcare agent in your advanced medical directive, or what the terms of the distribution of your assets are going to be upon your death, hopefully many years from now. All those things can change over time. I'm going through the updating of my planning right now, as is my wife. And even though I'm with the firm and know the importance, my wife's planning hasn't been updated in 13 years. So I know it's difficult, but I guess we're not client care program members. So maybe that's a reason she hasn't done it, but I just understand how busy we all are. And she's very busy as a teacher, national board certified teacher, and things just get in the way, raising kids and talking about college. But we both are hitting 50 this year, so it's kind of one of those things where it's gone from here to, well, this is really something that we really need to think about. So we're working with our team at the firm to work through that. So see here in the middle, client care program membership includes 2 hours of attorney time annually. And this is very valuable, because attorney time can range hourly, as you know, between about $350 and $625 an hour or so. So if you just take advantage right there of the 2 hours of attorney time, it pays for the program and more right there. Now it's a calendar basis system. So you have this 2 hours of attorney time each year from January through December, and they don't roll over. So I need you to understand that. So we encourage people to set their update meetings soon throughout the year. Don't wait until December 15th and say, oh my goodness, I want to meet with Steve to go through my annual review, because more than likely he schedules out a good ways because he's so good at what he does. So start thinking about it this time of the year, or maybe over the summer if you've got a little bit more time, and don't wait until the very end. I can just tell you from experience that that's a best practice. We also offer continuing legal education workshops, and as you all know, we offer our webinar series. We've done hundreds of different webinars over the last 5 years or so. These workshops are exclusively for our members, family members, trusted advisors. Talks about various estate planning topics and non-estate planning topics that are relevant to members. I'm going to go through a little bit of that further information in just a minute or two. Also, additional legal counseling. So this is also included if you feel like you don't need an update meeting just specifically to talk about your planning on a yearly basis. Those 2 hours that are included in your client care program membership can be used to talk to one of our attorneys about something else that might have come up. Maybe you want to talk about irrevocable trust planning. You're charitably inclined and you want to talk about different types of charitable remainder trusts. Maybe you've started a business and you need advice related to that. So people come to us for all different types of legal counseling, and if you're not inclined to update your plan each year, then you can use those 2 hours to talk about something else. We had somebody the other day, a new member, come in and talk about a guardianship matter. So that can also be included in your 2 hours of attorney time each year. We know lots of people here at the firm, so access to a network of attorneys and financial advisors, even if you're not a member, of course. But we give special consideration if you have a need for a financial advisor or an aging life care manager or a really good realtor or real estate professional. Maybe you're going through a divorce or you have a family law matter. We know hundreds of different advisors in all those areas that can be a good resource to you. So hopefully you can trust that they're going to be a good source of information for you, coming from the attorneys and staff and myself at Elville and Associates. We also collaborate with your advisors. You've heard Steve talk about this all the time. You want your different planning, your financial plan, your estate plan, your insurance professional, you want them all talking together to ensure that all of your plans are going to work as intended and work in concert with each other, as opposed to being different from each other. It's just a better chance and better way to make things work. Looks like we have a question. Thanks. Let's take a look here. Question is, can family meetings and annual updates be carried out online? So yes, great question. Thank you very much, Ed. We welcome people, prospective clients and members of our client care program to visit us in our office. It's a great way to, I think, connect best. We have 3 offices now in Columbia. We have our new office in Rockville, which is doing really well. It's very beautiful down there. Steve really decorated the office with a lot of unique paintings. So I encourage you to take a look down there one day. And we also have our Annapolis office. But if you prefer to do things virtually, like we're doing right now, that is absolutely fine. Your attorney can review your documents with you and any subsequent review that is needed can go through those reviews online. The only thing that would need to be done in the office specifically, of course, is if something new needed to be signed, if you're updating something related to your property or your will or trust or your powers of attorney or your advance directives, those would need to be signed in front of somebody, Elville and Associates, along with at least one other witness and a notary public. So good question. Thank you very much. Let's go to the next slide here. Other discounts and benefits. So if you ever have deed work that needs to be done, we can help prepare those deeds at Elville and Associates at 2/3 the cost that is typically charged for that type of service. Also, enrollment in DocuBank. This is a big thing, and most every member takes advantage of this. I've got my DocuBank card right here. I just signed up for it about 3 months ago. So this is a 24-hour healthcare document retrieval service. So what I do is if you've created your advance directive or if you're updating your advance directive, which happens pretty frequently, that can be sent over to our relationship manager at DocuBank, where it's stored securely, digitally. If you ever, God forbid, need to go into a hospital or you have a medical emergency, the healthcare professional that can access your DocuBank card can immediately retrieve your advance directive. So if it's needed, they will understand what your wishes are, and all those choices that you've gone through your advance directive with your attorney will be abided by the healthcare professional. There's going to be no guessing, which is really nice, of course. There's a new part of DocuBank that is really cool, I think. It's called DocuBank Safe, and this is also included in your membership. It's relatively new, but basically it's an online storage system for more than your healthcare advance directive. You can have your entire estate plan loaded into DocuBank Safe. You can have your financial planning documents, investment documents, literally whatever you want can be stored with DocuBank. So I've taken advantage of it. Clients that I've talked to about DocuBank recently have started to take advantage of it, and it's really a nice document retrieval system and storage system in a secure environment. We've worked with DocuBank since the firm started 14 years ago. So also EverPlans. So it's kind of along the same lines of DocuBank, but it's not a healthcare retrieval system. You don't get a card. You can't call up EverPlans and say, have my advance directive sent over to Howard County General. That's not something that can be done. But EverPlans, it's a very state-of-the-art, secure digital archive where you can store, kind of similar to DocuBank Safe, pretty much everything that is important to you. You can also add what's called a deputy or deputies that can view parts of your EverPlan. You can have certain options for your deputies to edit your EverPlan. Frequently what happens if a client or member takes advantage of EverPlans is they will make me a deputy for the legal piece of their EverPlan. So if you look at EverPlans, there's literally like 20 or 30 sections of things that you can fill out on there to keep in one secure location. You take all your information and you put it into one place. But I can, as a deputy for your EverPlan on the legal side, every time that you update your plans, be it every year or every 2, 3, 5, 20 years, we can have that information fully updated in your personal Ever plan. And again, that comes with your membership through the client care program. So we love to see our members. In person, we offer a yearly social event through the client care program. And this is something we've done for, I think, every year at this point. We've gone to a lot of different places, including Toby's Dinner Theater. Down there in Columbia, we saw Grease and Mamma Mia. So that was a lot of fun. I have those Mamma Mia songs in my head now, so excuse me if I'm distracted. Orioles games and different sporting events. We've gone to the Orioles game the past couple of years, had great seats right along the third base line by the dugout, and we've seen 2 victories, 2 pretty exciting ones. We've gone to different wineries. If you're a wine connoisseur or are just interested in the process, the trips to the wineries have been really fun and entertaining. And this year, it's been a number of years, so we're going back to Boxwood Winery in Middleburg, Virginia. That's going to be September 20th or 27th, which is a great time to go visit a winery. So we hope that if you're a member, you can bring your family and your friends, and hope you'll certainly consider joining us for that. We offer a lot of education here at the firm, as we say on every one of our presentations, as you've seen through our processes with your estate planning on a recurring basis. On a quarterly basis, we offer continuing legal education events to our members. We actually have one coming up on March 15th. I'll talk about that in just a second. Steve and Gary typically do one part of the presentation, and then many times we'll have a high-level speaker visit us from local area or throughout the country to come and talk about different areas that are of interest to our members. And some of these include, we had Aging Life Care Manager Ellen Platt of the Option Group, who's probably the leading Aging Life Care Manager in Maryland and Pennsylvania. She talked about navigating longevity. We had a Social Security expert come in from Massachusetts several years ago to talk all about Social Security planning. James Eaton, you're going to hear that name again, I promise you. He talked about the new Tax Act that took effect in 2017 or 2018. So he was extremely high level, and he's going to be coming back to visit us pretty soon in a couple different capacities. Also had further year-end tax planning considerations with Greg Will, who's with Bestgate Wealth Advisors. Really popular one we had was a trustee boot camp, everything related to being a trustee, choosing a trustee, trustee management. You know how much and how important we think that topic is here at Elville and Associates. It can almost be its own meeting as part of your estate planning. He came up all the way from Dallas, Texas to visit with us as part of our client care program event a couple of years ago. Recently, last year, we had Alex Seleznev, who is the founder of Capital Squared Financial, extremely knowledgeable about all areas of financial planning. But for that day in, I think it was March of last year, he talked about 529 college savings plans and different advanced strategies to plan for college, which is near and dear to me. I was listening very intently because I have 2 kids, one that's going to college in September, and another that's going in 2 years. So it was very interesting for me. And if you're a parent or grandparent or just an interested person that wants to contribute to a loved one's education, that was a really good one. And all these, most all these are available to view on our YouTube channel as well for our client care program. We have a specific YouTube channel for that. We also had an Antiques Roadshow. If you've ever seen the show, Antique Roadshow, actually brought it to our members at Elville and Associates Client Care Program. So this was a lot of fun. We had most of our members showed up for this one. They brought different items that were near and dear to them. And Todd Peenstra, who's the owner of Peenstra Antique Appraisals, took some time to review the items. And as the first part of our presentation was going on, he was doing some analysis, and then everybody came up and gave a little bit of background about their items. And then Todd was able to give a value, general value for what some of those items were worth. And we had people bring in old trains, and we had somebody that brought in some Revolutionary War firearms that were pretty valuable. And I think the most valuable one actually was a 1950s silver cigarette case that also had rubies and diamonds on it and emeralds, and it was about $25,000. And the lady was stunned that she had this family heirloom that had that value just sitting around for all those years. So in summary, we believe in education and continuing education, and we bring that specifically to our members and any family members or friends or advisors that they would like to bring with them. And it's a nice morning. It usually runs from about 9:30 to 12 down at Anne Arundel Community College's Arnold Campus Arts Center. So we'll jump to questions here in a minute. A little bit more about the impact that the client care program can have and has had on one of a really wonderful member that's been a client and member almost since the inception of the client care program. With permission, she allowed me to share this information. I won't read through the whole thing. You can certainly read through it, but Todd Peenstra from that Antique Roadshow came to her home and reviewed all the different personal property that this family had. They were looking to declutter and maybe give some of it away or sell some of it so their family could benefit from it now, as opposed to having to deal with it, as she says, you know, when they pass away many years from now. So Todd gave a very surprising assessment of the value, and they were able to pass on some of that wealth to their children now, as opposed to 20 years from now, when they may or may not really have time or understand the process of disposing of all that property. So that's just a real nice success story I wanted to share with you from one of our dear clients. So let's look at a few questions here. They've been coming in, and I appreciate that. Set this out. Oh my, we have a lot of questions. Okay. So my 2 adult children, one with special needs, may inherit from their grandparent who recently died. I'm sorry to hear that. Can this program help get their own estate plans set up? One of the 2 children lives in Texas, but is a client of one of your partner firms, BWFA. So yeah, BWFA, we don't have an alignment with them, but we do suggest them frequently because they're certainly a really high-level financial services organization. So I would say that it's not something specifically that could be done through the client care program, but if you want your family members to engage with the firm to get their estate planning set up, it's certainly something that we would be privileged to help and advise with. If you're involved in their planning in some way, if you're named in their planning, it's possible that Steve might, if you're looking to use the 2 hours of attorney time, might be able to make some type of accommodation. But typically, the 2 hours of attorney time is reserved for specifically our client care program members. But as far as the special needs situation, we can certainly advise on that. Steve, and especially Steve, and also Shannon and Lily at our office in Rockville, both have a significant and deep background and understanding of all things related to special needs planning. As it relates to the child in Texas, we're not barred in Texas, as you may understand, but we could do one of two things. We could give you a referral to a Texas attorney to consider, or another thing that we could do is we could draft Texas documents. So whether it's a will or a trust and the powers of attorney, and then before they are signed, we could have them reviewed by Texas counsel. And this would just afford you and us the opportunity to ensure that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed before we go through a signing for documents that are of Texas nature. So I hope that's helpful. And certainly appreciate becoming a client of the firm recently. Another question, will Elville and Associates help monitor that everything in DocuBank and EverPlans is updated and correct, or does the member help do that? That's an outstanding question. So we can do it to the point that you allow us. So as it relates to your DocuBank, every time that you have your advanced directive updated with Elville and Associates, we are responsible for making sure that that information gets sent over to DocuBank. So absolutely. Now, if you use DocuBank Safe and you put other documents like your financial documents, et cetera, that we are not, of course, involved in, that would be the client's responsibility. But things we can control, like your advanced directive, absolutely, that is our responsibility. And mine specifically. EverPlans, if you were to name, again, as the firm as a deputy on your EverPlan, your personal EverPlan, anytime you have a document update, we can ensure that if you give us access, that we can update your EverPlan with your most recent estate planning documents. So that's a great question, thank you. Another question from Ed here. So can documents like vehicle titles, mortgage lien releases, passports, property deeds, birth certificates be stored in EverPlans? Yes. Literally anything that you feel is of value and has a great deal of importance to you, no matter how big or small, can be included in your personal EverPlan. Absolutely. That's a great question. Another good question, never had this one before, is the 2 hours of annual attorney time transferable to meeting with a financial planner or financial advisor? So that's a really wonderful question. And the answer is no. And the reason for that is at Elville and Associates, we are an estate planning, elder law, special needs planning law firm. So we can refer you to financial advisors and financial planners. We have no direct affiliation with any financial advisors, but we do know, like I said earlier, more than I can count that are very high level and focus in different areas. So if you have a special needs loved one that you want to plan for, well, but there's a lot of advisors out there that now have tools that focus their practice on planning for families to have special needs loved ones, or depending on what your situation is, we can refer you to the appropriate advisor slash financial planner for your situation. And we always do. Typically, we give at least 2 different options for you to consider. But again, we don't have an affiliation with any company. We don't get paid to refer out at all. And so that's why we encourage that planning team concept to make sure that your financial plan works in tandem and in concert with your estate plan. But we don't have anybody that's a financial advisor or planner on staff here at Elville and Associates. So another good question. Another question here, are the 2 hours subdividable into 30 or 15 or 30-minute segments for brief inquiries or questions that may arise? Yes. So let's say you were to meet with your attorney and your meeting took 1 hour. So that means that you would have 1 hour of attorney time remaining for that calendar year. So absolutely, we've had many instances where clients don't use up their full 2 hours, the first go around, and something else may arise later in the year, and that can be divided up. It's actually divided up into, I think, 6-minute increments. I think that's how attorneys bill. It's the one area of the firm I really don't get too involved in is billing, and there's different reasons for that. I do pretty much everything else, but billing and being an attorney. But long story short, yes, it can be divided up. So that's a great question, and thanks for asking it. Is the calendar year, January to December, an annual fee prorated if a client joins in subsequent months? Absolutely. Another good question. So when I've been involved in the program for many years, probably since 2017, but when I became the director, I mentioned to Steve last year, if somebody joins in April, they probably shouldn't have to pay the whole fee. And he agreed. So with that being said, usually we'll divide it up into like January to March is the beginning of the year. And the cost is the typical membership fee. And then April to June, we'll cut it down by a quarter, and then so on and so forth, cut it down by half, and then 3/4 as the year goes on. But you join early in the year, you're able to take advantage of all the workshops and different presentations and all of our different events, and the 2 hours of attorney time is always going to be there. Let's see, the next question. First presentation that we did, we had no questions. So this time we have a lot, which is good, and you're making me work here today. So I appreciate that. Next question is, what should we do if our successor trustees are no longer with Elville and Associates? One of them is definitely not with you, and the other is either also gone or has changed her name. Could the 2 hours be used to straighten this out? Absolutely. So consistency is always good. Circumstances change sometimes. So we have had, just like any firm, we've added attorneys, and there have been attorneys that have moved on for various reasons, and we've had name changes. Shannon Werbeck, for example, is now Shannon Ladner. She is now married and also expecting her first baby in July. So we're really happy for Shannon. But if something needs to be updated in your documents, then absolutely that can be included in your 2 hours of attorney time each year to, again, talk about successor trustees if they need to be changed or anything else that we've talked to up to this point. Looks like those are all the questions for now. Thank you so much. Let's go to the next slide here. So, annual client event. I run this event. We started out with like 70 people at our first event 10 years ago, and the last 3 years we've been at our capacity of 300. So this is at 10 Oaks Ballroom. You actually don't need to be a member to take part in our annual client event, but it's our biggest and best event of the year. We have speakers come from all around the country, along with Steve and our other attorneys that present lots of food and door prizes. We have live music. We'll talk a little bit about our charity most years, but overall, it's a lot of really high-end education, and it's a nice morning over at the 10 Oaks Ballroom in Clarksville, and you can see the different themes that we've had over the year. And our 2025 event is set for October 18th, and that is definitive. We've already paid for it, so it is definitely happening that day. And information is going to be coming out about that soon. So we encourage if you're a client, certainly RSVP early because it will reach capacity of 300. So we're looking forward to that event again. As far as our client care program events specific for members, March 15th, we have our first quarter client care program event. We decided on March of this year because last year we scheduled the first one for January, it snowed. February, it snowed. So it got moved to, I think, April actually. So we had to bunch them up a little bit. So I don't think it's going to snow on March 15th. It looks like it's going to be about 70 degrees. So hopefully we'll be in good shape. And Steve and Gary are going to be presenting on that day. May 17th is going to be our second quarter event with more information coming out about that soon. I alluded to our social event on September 20th or 27th, as well as our client event. And now we are all the way out to the end of the year. December is going to be here before you know it. As I'm sure you understand, that's going to be our fourth quarter event, and maybe try to throw a holiday theme in there as well. So membership, a path forward for planning that works. Nothing's free, right? I wish it was, but it's a great value. It really is. $8.95 for January through December. It covers everything that we've talked about over the last 47 minutes. So I've gone over. I apologize. The questions are very welcome, though. Membership renewals are sent out by the firm in November of each year. Gives you the opportunity to renew your membership in full for the next calendar year that follows. By my estimation, adding everything up that I've talked about, all the different benefits, if you take advantage of everything, it's about a $3,000 value. So it's really a really good, like I said, value for the membership fee on an annual basis. Enrollment is simple. I have a client care program agreement, which I included in our handouts and sent out to everyone that registered by email as of midday yesterday. It's a pretty basic and straightforward agreement. It lays forth some understanding between the firm and the client. You can sign it through our electronic signing system. It automatically gets sent back to me, and Steve signs it, and we are off and running. And now we get you more information about our events, getting your update on the calendar, your asset alignment review, set you up with DocuBank, set you up with Everplans, and everything else that we talked about today. So that, I think, that's going to do it. Appreciate your interest. Let's see if there's any final questions before we finish up. So good question. If I already have an appointment with Steve in April and join now, will that be covered? So yes, your client care program membership will cover any upcoming appointments that you have with Steve and the rest of the firm. So good question. It doesn't happen too often, but it's happened before and it'll happen again. So absolutely, Andrea, that's a great question. And let's see if we have any other questions. Nothing further. So as we move forward, I'm not sure what I did to myself. We have so many presentations coming up in March, along with our client care program event on March 15th. I'll send you out, as I always do, a follow-up email with several things that we covered today, along with all of our upcoming events. We're talking about elder law on March 7th with Steve. We have an evening presentation about elder law essentials with Steve on March 12th. We have Lily Hummel and a chartered special needs financial consultant in mid-March talking about documents for life and what's something called the family love letter. More estate planning in person down at Rockville Senior Center with Lily and me on Friday the 21st. We've got an outstanding presentation on Thursday the 27th with Victoria Hathaway from the Silver Group, a Bob Lucido team. She's also the Howard County Howard County Commission on Aging, along with the Howard County Office of Aging and Independence. They're going to be talking about housing options as you age. We already have almost 80 people registered for that one, so that should be pretty popular. So I'll be sending out a follow-up message. If there's anything I can do for you here at the firm, whether it's client care program related or something else, feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is there. My phone number is there. And if you become a client care program member, I'll actually give you my cell phone too. So you can use that to get in touch with me. So really appreciate everybody being here today. And if there's anything I do for you, let me know. No further questions. So we'll call this one a wrap. And we'll see you again soon on the Elville webinar series. Have a great day.